Poetry Metrics 3 from the Poetry of Anne Bradstreet. If ever two were one, then surely we. If ever man were loved by wife, then thee. If ever wife was happy in a man, compare with me, you women, if you can. Again, slower this time and with more emphasis. If ever two were one, then surely we. If ever man were loved by wife, then thee. If ever wife was happy in a man, compare with me, ye women, if you can. This time with clapping. If ever two were one, then surely we. If ever man were loved by wife, then thee. If ever wife was happy in a man, compare with me, ye women, if you can. This is iambic pentameter. We have 5 feet per line. Notice again that the slash marks indicate the stressed syllables. The short straight line indicates the unstressed syllables. This was a very common form for Bradstreet, and it continues through the poem. And in fact, it's a very common form for traditional poetry in general, not just for Bradstreet. Say the lines out loud and listen to the stress pattern. Here is another segment from one of Anne Bradstreet's poems. In silent night when rest I took, for sorrow near I did not look. I wakened was with thundering noise, and piteous shrieks of dreadful voice. Again, slower, with more emphasis. In silent night when rest I took, for sorrow near I did not look. I wakened was with thundering noise, and piteous shrieks of dreadful voice. This is iambic tetrameter. We have 4 feet per line. Again, the stress marks indicated by the slash marks. And if you wish to look at the rest of the poem, you will see that this form continues. Notice that some words could possibly be read as more than 2 syllables. Bradstreet has punctuated this so as to indicate that these words should be pronounced with 2 syllables. Occasionally, poets working with longer words will do this, and we may have to consider alternative methods of pronouncing the words. And of course, in common pronunciation, we do sometimes do this anyway. A word that, strictly speaking, may have 3 syllables, as it appears in a dictionary, for example, may in common practice often be pronounced with simply 2. So we may have to occasionally work with the poet here in deciding, based on how the stress patterns in the poem look, deciding how the poet really wants us to read some of these words to make it fit the metrical pattern. When examining meter, always read the poem out loud. You may need to read a couple of lines several times out loud to hear the stress pattern develop. Try to read in a natural voice. If you just cannot seem to hear it, try assuming it is iambic and see if that sounds right. Read slowly with heavy emphasis on the stresses. If it just does not sound right, try some other pattern. If you did not start with Poetry Metrics 1, then you may wish to view that video for more on metrics. Traditional poetry is similar to music. You should be able to pat your foot to the meter or clap your hands to the stress pattern in an iambic or trochaic poem, much like you would do with music.